Recruited out of a dumpster behind an abortion clinic?
Get on now!
What the is your first stone? Crystal meth? All of a sudden, look how motivated everybody is. Drill Sergeant Cox, motivate him.
Basic training. One of the most, if not the most, iconic moment in a young military member's life. And not even young, from ages of 17 when he first joined, all the way to 80-something years old, from World War II veterans telling stories around the campfire the days their drill sergeants used to beat the living crap out of them. And some of the hysterical things that they used to say. Now, Hollywood seems to have an issue with trying to portray basic training land in the way that it actually is. A forbidden hellscape with tomfoolery and shenanigans that make you sweat and cry and want to give up, but also build you up stronger, all at the same time sometimes. The better ones, obviously, being Full Metal Jacket.
You're a worthless piece of pile. Then quit, you slime walrus fucking piece of
And I would say Starship Troopers, too.
The enemy cannot push a button if you disable his hand.
Honestly, I connect a lot with that drill sergeant in that scene. But let's forget about Hollywood for 1 second and let's talk about veterans that actually lived that life trying to portray their experiences on the big screen. My friends at Vet TV have a new series out that focuses on the drill sergeants and drill instructors. Drill! The funniest place you can't laugh. And the shared experiences that we all seem to have from basic training land. Now I figure if somebody's gonna let you know whether or not a basic training video, series, movie, etc. is any good and touches on the real thing, it would be yours truly. But enough lip flapping, let's get down to the nitty gritty.
Recruited out of a dumpster behind an abortion clinic? I've seen tie hookers with more balls than you. What the is your first stone? Crystal meth?
The first thing that caught my attention in the show is how they use the drill sergeant's ability to berate people. Once again, I know everybody's very familiar with Arlie Ermey's depiction of a drill instructor in Full Metal Jacket.
It looks to me like the best part of you ran down the crack of your mama's ass and ended up as a brown stain on the mattress. I think you've been cheated.
And why that scene in Full Metal Jacket is so iconic is because of Arlie Ermey's ability to just quickly rattle off insults faster than you can think. Now, drill sergeants may not be sitting here with a sketch pad trying to think of interesting and funny things to say and writing them down for later so that they can go up and down the line berating each and every individual. No, we don't have that amount of time. And honestly, I don't give about giving each and every one of you your own special individual nickname for something that you f***ed up. You'll do something stupid later on, and then I'll call you whatever name that is. I'll call you Landmine if you dropped on a landmine. Or call you Rambo if you put on your face camouflage all jacked up and you look like some sort of weird thing that came from the Black Lagoon. But quickly and randomly coming up with colorful language to talk to your trainees is definitely something that I have been a part of. Even just as recently as this past summer, I had a troop whose last name is Quintard. And yes, Quintard, you've left a mark in my life forever. Just as in the same way that I used to make your name ring throughout the barracks. Get over here, Quintard! I think my favorite line from the show is the birthstone being crystal meth.
What the is your first stone? Crystal meth?
This could possibly be my most favorite episode of this longer series because in the same episode, drill sergeants get a little sneaky, don't they? Oh, they think of a way to sneak inside and infiltrate the privates, which is something I have absolutely done. Now, I've never seen anybody go quite as far as the drill sergeants in this sketch to shave one of their battle buddies' heads so that they can fall in and disguise themselves to live amongst the privates. But for those of us who are follically challenged as drill sergeants, it's a little bit easier. And you don't need much to do it. In PT uniforms, the only thing that makes a bald drill sergeant look different than a private is the fact that, one, we're usually a little bit older and more developed as a man.
Check the packs.
And two, we've got a large reflective vest on that says, Drill Sergeant, do not touch. Danger, stay arm's distance away at all times. Let me tell you about one time when I blended in with the privates, because it's real, we do this. Now I've hidden in wall lockers and in latrines and under beds. Everywhere! Trying to like scare them, but that's as a drill sergeant. Like I got the hat, I'm in uniform, they know who I am. One day during PT, we're all done with it. They're about ready to go upstairs, quickly shower, get ready for chow. I don't know if they actually showered in the morning, but they're getting ready to change so we can go get some chow. And before they get released from the PT pit area, I take off my vest and I hold it in front of my chest so that from behind, you just see a bald dude in a PT top and shorts, just walking around with the rest of them. Now, if they were intelligent privates, they would have looked at my shoes and said, those aren't the basic training issued shoes that I've been given before. That's probably a drill sergeant, but they're dumb and stupid. And so yes, falling in with a group of privates just randomly is something that's extremely believable, but I digress. I'm walking in the PT area, outside the PT area, about to go into the barracks, and I'm fake jogging, and they all start running around me. And then, of course, once they all start running around me, one of them touches me.
I don't like to be touched.
And because they're not paying attention that I am a drill sergeant, I freak out. And I give them the proper warning of privates do not touch me. And I flail around like this because they're supposed to keep 1 arm's length distance away from me because it is for their safety that they stay that far away from me.
1 arm's distance! That is for your safety, not mine!
I have PTSD. Don't sneak up behind me, Private. Sounds like a you problem.
Good evening, Drill Sergeant.
Shut the up. Check it out, weirdos. You're gonna go over to the end of the bay, put your nose against the wall, and you're not gonna move until I come get you. Tracking? Yes? No? Me?
Yes, Drill Sergeant.
Go. Execute.
Sorry I bumped into you, ma'am.
Next time you have to pay for it.
You didn't see anything here tonight. Understand? I need this.
Yes, Drill Sergeant.
In a later episode, while some shenanigans and hijinks go down in the barracks after hours, a little late night rendezvous with the lady of the night. And I can't say that I've seen drill sergeants bring in ladies or gentlemen for their pleasure, but I've heard a story or two. But that's not what I want to talk about. There's a small moment in this sketch of the debauchery going down in the barracks that is such a perfect representation of the small moments in basic training.
Shut the f up.
And that's just how we tell people to shut up. There are many times where drill sergeants on the trail just don't want to deal with your trainee, okay? And honestly, my favorite word is weirdo. Shut up, weirdo. Don't talk to me, weirdo. Don't look at me, weirdo. I've made privates run back and forth or do push-ups every time that they come up to talk to me because I'm just too tired of dealing with their shit. And even them screaming, hey, it's at the top of their lungs. They'll be like, no, now's not the time. I need to put out information. Shut up, just shut up. Everybody shut up.
Shut the f up.
And what really made me happy is the end scene where the privates are doing exactly what Drill Sergeant told them. Hours later, just face up against the wall.
Think we can leave now? If I know.
I have definitely forgotten about privates, intentionally and unintentionally. I'll give you a quick story. Down on the trail, it was my last day. I was going back home, so I had all the troops, the trainees in the barracks, had them line up. I gave them a little speech. Listen, don't move, toe the line, everybody stay on line. I'll be back in a little bit. None of you move. I'm gonna put out something later on. Stay right here. So they're there at parade rest in the barracks, just waiting for me to give them their final instruction. It's like, I don't know, 1800, 6 p.m. And I leave and never came back. So what ended up happening is, and I didn't find this out until later on, like literally years later, I met up with one of the other drill sergeants again, you know, our paths cross. And they go, hey, you remember that one time when you left us and you left the private standing at parade rest, like in the bay? I was like, yeah, I always wondered, like, you know, when they got done with that. And the drill sergeant was like, hours later, hours later, they were still standing there like, where's Drill Sergeant High? Why isn't he telling us to do anything? And this drill sergeant came up from CQ duty to check on all the barracks, on all the bays, and when they got to my bay, she sees everybody standing there at parade rest, toeing the line, by their bunks, just waiting, pops their head in and goes, what are you privates doing in here? And they're like, waiting for Drill Sergeant High to give us the next block of instruction. Drill Sergeant, he told us to wait here for him. And of course, the drill sergeant responded with, trainees, he's gone. He left. He's not coming back. How long have you been standing here? And it was for a while. It's for a good time. Discipline. That's what I taught you. Discipline. On to the next one. I can't tell you the amount of strange things privates have done. I can't tell you the strange things privates have done to injure themselves because they're just so freaking spastic.
Why did you two come in here to bother me anyway? Huh? What's so doggone important? You run out of toilet paper again? There's no boxes on your bunks. Already checked. What is so important?
Drill Sergeant, Private Howard drank bleach from that accident.
Private Howard's been vomiting in the bay for the past 10 minutes.
Move.
And yes, every once in a while, you start yelling at somebody, and you're like, I'm tired of you, what's wrong with you? And then when they get a second to talk, you, what is it, Private? What do you want? Drill Sergeant, Private Stuffy fell off the top bunk, cracked his head open, he's bleeding all over the place, and we don't have any aid to give him. Oh, Private, why'd you say that? And then you gotta go fix Private Joe Snuffy's head. Now, I can't remember an injury, but I can remember a strange thing that a private did. So in the base, I'll break it down with you, right? There's the first floor area where you have formations. The second floor is actually an enclosed space. That's one of the barracks. And then the third floor is another barracks, right? It's usually got 4 barracks rooms. There you go, a long empty rectangle with beds in it. And at either end of it are the latrines, the bathrooms, and the laundry stations. And there was one private in a previous class before I got there who had found out that if you go on the 3rd story, the barracks on the 3rd floor, which above that is just the roof, and you go into the laundry room and you climb up the wall, there's the attic space, which is just, the roof. There's not really a lot of space, but it connects the entire one barracks to over the drill sergeant offices, big problem, and over the next bay. And what this private would do is he would put on his freaking face paint, his face camo, climb up the wall, get into the roof, go to the other bay on the other side of the building, and start with privates and making them think that ghosts were there and taking their and moving it around and make them fight one another, and nobody knew. We had a ninja private. I'm not even mad, I'm kind of impressed.
I bet you $20 we get 2 unwaverables.
Over. Definitely over. You know damn well these recruiters are always sending us these goddamn window lickers trying to make their goddamn mission.
There's one thing that drill sergeants hate more than trainees. Well, it's on the same level, but sometimes it's more. Peaks and valleys. They constantly fight one another in the ebb and flow of what we hate more. Trainees or the recruiters that brought those trainees there. Now, we get it. We understand that recruiters have a job to do. They've got to pick, sometimes not the cream of the crop, to come in. And hey, we've got minimum standards because sometimes people just barely meet the minimum.
So we reach the bottom of the barrel.
But let me tell you, a bad recruiter is the bane of a drill sergeant's life. What's the point of getting the fat kid in and lying on his tape if he's gonna have a heart attack and nearly kill himself in basic training because all the kid's done is mainline Funyuns and sit down and play Call of Duty every single day, never ever moving the joints in his body? Or, true story, have some crazy kid that emigrated from another country who hates women, disrespects them, and in order to get out of basic training, decides that he's just gonna walk around naked and flash his dong to female drill sergeants.
Oh my God. I'm sorry, I thought this was the baby's room. I'm really sorry.
Until he's wrestled to the ground, nude by the MPs. If I'm lying, I'm dying.
It's me, Tony Lasagna, from the neighborhood.
So yes, there are moments where I look and say, if I could find the recruiter of this unique turd that is making my life more difficult, I would gladly nut punch them.
Are you Sergeant First Class Freeman?
Yes.
Oh. And my favorite part, because it's just so true, out of this entire series, which by the way, in case you haven't figured it out yet, I really enjoyed. You should check it out. I've got a link below for the Vet TV app and their videos, and they've got a whole catalog of content for you weird veterans that you need to check out.
We've always called them dicks.
It's tradition, First Sergeant.
Regardless, cancel culture is real and dicks are out.
Dicks out. Pussy mouth.
Cunt bubble.
Chicken vagina.
Vegan.
All right.
But my favorite part is the no-no words. Can't call him a dick bag.
Dicks are out.
Dicks out.
Can't call him a pussy.
Same category, gentlemen.
You can't swear at him. You can't intentionally swear at him. You can't just like dump an entire vitriolic paragraph of F-bombs and C-words. You could be creative, and that's what these drill sergeants have to do. You gotta figure out new and interesting words. Now, I love saying dude and weirdo. If I say guy or dude, that means you That means you have made it to a level of which I am now going to seek retribution for your stupidity. And you will pay for that in sweat. If I say dude or guy, you're done. Weirdo is just like, what do you do, weirdo? Just like, what? That's my general term. Can't say retard, even if they're acting retarded.
I'm kind of retarded.
Or quintarded. One of the words, phrases, names, that drill sergeants are not supposed to be calling, they hit it really hard like half a dozen years ago, was calling the trainees privates. Hey, drill sergeant, you can't call the privates privates. Why, sir? That's their rank. Well, drill sergeant, some of them are specialists. So if you're calling them private, then it must be their rank. But if they're a specialist, you can't call them private. Who cares? Who cares? So then they started giving drill sergeants like secondary words, right? Hey, use this word instead of like use trainees. I use trainees all the time, but they wanted us to call them warriors for a while. Oh my God, I hated warriors. Hey, warrior. And we had to use warrior, but we made it sound like, hey, warrior, interchangeable with, hey. Like really just the way that you said warrior and its placement in like the yelling scene that you were at and like that specific moment of time, it could mean a multitude of insults. Anyway, even though these new rules of what we can call them and what we can't, whether it's warrior or soldier or troop or trainee or private or whatever.
Hey, where you going, hero?
Even if you limit the space that a drill sergeant can work in, we will expand it in our own minds. And my favorite insult has got to be
vegan.
Oh, chef's kiss, so good. Now, like I said earlier, there's a lot of episodes of this basic training drill sergeant, drill instructor world. There's Marine Corps drill instructors in there too. I just touched on the Army ones because, you know, that's my purview. But if that interests you, then go ahead and check out Bet TV. I've also been in a series that they did called Checkpoint Charlie.
Lawrence, my baby wipes!
Based on MPs, so that was a good time there too. Best way to support the channel is get yourself a shirt. We've only got a couple hoodies left. And also, if you're a Navy guy, a Lighthouse for Pussy, and the PVC patches, we've only got like 60 or 80 left, I think, of all of them out of the 300, so they sold pretty quickly last week. Cheapest way to support the channel is leave a comment. Tell me what you thought about this. Is there a funny basic training story that you think you could correlate with the little moments that I brought in from this new Vet TV series? Drill, the funniest place you can't laugh. Do you like angry movie reviews? Maybe you could put a movie down in the description that you want me to break down and call, or that's lame, or that's cool, or whatever. All right. See you next time, weirdos. By the way, for everybody that's already viewing on Pepperbox, I added a special little story about a private in my most recent basic training class. Private Carpenter.
Think we can leave now? Bye now.